So the new budget for next year 2025 has been released, which was just this Tuesday, okay, 1st October 2024. And then I think the entire budget was set for 10.5 billion euros, okay. So let's look at a bit of a breakdown. This is made up of a package of once-off measure worth 2 billion, okay, so total expenditure of 6.9 billion, and additional capital expenditure of 1.6 billion, and then permanent tax changes of 1.4 billion for 2025. So the tax budget that was actually read actually covered social welfare rates as well, taxation, employment, and then business, education and training, housing, energy and environment, health, transport, and then justice. Okay, so we'll try as much as possible to go through this. It's actually a very huge document. It's very lengthy, but I'm actually going to use citizen information and also other websites as well, just to make sure that I'm able to kind of simplify the whole budget and just to help you all understand it in a more, simple way, if I would say. So please stay tuned. Go nowhere. You can all see on your screen, we have once-off payments of 200 euros to people getting a living alone increase. Okay, so if you want to know what living alone increase is, you can just check on the website as well. You also have once-off payments of 300 euros to people getting fuel allowance. So if you don't know, maybe you think that you might fall in this category, you can also check and then see. You also have once-off payments of 400 euros to people getting the working family payments. And then you also have once-off payments of 100 euros for each qualifying child to people who get an increase for a qualified child. Okay, and then 2 double payments of child benefits for each child, one to be paid in November 2024 and then a second in December 2024. Wow, yes. So if you are qualified like myself, if you do take child benefits, expect a double payment of child benefits, okay, for each child, one to be paid in November 2024 and then a second one to be paid in December 2024. And then you also have a double week payment of people getting a long-term social welfare weekly payments in October 2024, in addition to the Christmas bonus as well. You also have once-off payments of 400 euros to people getting disability allowance, invalidity pension, and then blind pension as well in November 2024. You also have once-off payments of 400 euros to people getting carers support grants. When it comes to social welfare benefits, like, you just have to make sure that you apply. In case you qualify, they are definitely going to give that to you. So there are a lot of means tests that is being done. Like example, I did apply for the working family payments, but I did not qualify for it because of my earnings. So they do a lot of means tests, checking how much you earn, if you do qualify or you do not qualify. Okay, so now let's proceed further. So now I'm just going to go to other websites. I actually had to do a lot of research, so I think some websites actually simplify the whole budget. So I'm just going to say that if you really want to have an extensive one, you might just go to citizen information and then have a better understanding. Okay, with the once-off payments, I did get that from citizen information, but what I'm going to read now, which is much simplified, I think is also going to help us all. Okay, so that's like a guide to 2025 budget. So let's look at the taxation and workers. Okay, so we have tax credits and then tax rate bands. If you still don't understand the tax credits and then tax rate bands, then definitely you have to check my videos on taxation. But just to mention that the tax credits actually reduces your tax that you are supposed to pay, and the tax rate bands is what is the cutoff point for 40% payments of tax and also 20% payments of tax. Okay, so we have the standard rate cut off point, okay, increased by 2,000, which is 44,000 per person, to kind of make it simplified for you. This year 2024, okay, if you're a single person and you earn more than 42,000, then anything above 42,000 will be taxed at 40%. So anything up to 42,000 will be taxed at 20%. And for 2025, it has been increased to 44,000. So in that case, anything above 44,000 will be taxed at 40%, which is so cool. And then we also have 125 increase per person for personal, payee, and then earned income credits. Wow. So that is a very good one. Okay, you also have 150 increase for home carer tax credits, and then single person child carer credits. Okay, so that anything child credits that you hear is actually going to reduce your tax. You also have 300 euros increase for incapacitated child tax credit, and then also blind person tax credit. So if you have any child in this category, you also have this 300 euros increase. You also have 60 euro increase in dependent relative tax credits. The next one for taxation, we have the universal social charge, which is the USC. Okay, so it's more like a universal payment that we do. We have the rate of USC dropping from 4% to 3%. So it's been reduced, which is this year 2024 it was charged at 4%. Now it's being charged at 3%, which is really good. Like, from where I come from, we don't have the government reading budget and then they are reducing stuff. It actually goes high, so that's why I'm so excited. We also have the entry threshold to your USG rate will increase from 25,760 to 27,382. Before you are able to qualify to start paying for your USC this year, you are supposed to earn at least 25,760, and that has been changed to 27,385. So if you don't earn anything up to 27,382 euros, okay, for next year 2025, then you don't qualify to pay the USC. You also have small benefit exemption, which is increasing from 1,000 euros to 1,500 euros, and then payments allowed per year increasing from 2 to 5%. And also, lastly, when it comes to all of these cash things, you also have the minimum wage. Okay, it's been increased by 80 cents per hour. It's actually been increased to 13.50. So I think for 2024 it was 12.70 euros per hour. Don't quote me on it, but at least we know that for 2025 it's been increased to 13.50 euros per hour. Okay, and we also have housing. Now let's look at housing. I'm so excited. When it comes to housing, we have the rental. So increase of 250 in rent tax credits. Now it is for single person, it's 1,000 euros, and then or separately assessed individual, okay, and then 2,000 for jointly assessed couples. So when it comes to tax credits, every year you can apply for your tax returns. For this year 20, I think for last year, which was in 2022, it was just 500 euros for single persons, and then 750, if I'm not mistaken, for married couples. And then 2024, it was increased to 750 for single persons, and then 1,500 for married couples. So like I had 1,500 euros when I actually filed for my tax returns just for my rent. But for the year 2025, this has been increased again. So if you are single, you can actually claim up to 1,000 euros for your rent, and then if you are a couple, you can claim up to 2,000 euros. Yes. And then let's look at Help Me Buy a House. I'm so happy with Help Me Buy a House. It has been extended to 2029. Okay, so the Help Me Buy a House is you being able to apply through your revenue office, okay, revenue service, and then you can get up to 30,000 euros. A first time buyer of a house, you can apply for this through your revenue account, and then you might get up to 30,000 euros being given to you for free from the government. Okay, so they actually take into account your tax that you've paid for the past 4 years. Yeah, some you might get 15,000, 30,000. Like most of my friends that actually applied had 30,000 euros free from their tax paid. Yes, that's how good this country is. Okay, and you also have mortgage interest. So the mortgage interest tax relief has been extended 1 year to homeowners with a mortgage balance of between 80,000 and then 500,000 on their primary dwelling as at 31st December 2022. They also have the relief will be 20% of the increase in mortgage interest paid in 2022 versus 2024. So if I apply to you, you might understand better. And you also have the vacant home tax. You also have its increase to 7 times the local property charge. Okay, and you also have the capital acquisitions tax. So in respect to the capital acquisition tax, you have Group A, Group B, and then Group C, which is 335,000 to 400,000 for Group A, and then 32,500 to 40,000, and then 16,250 to 20,000 for Group C. So now let's look at energy. So with energy, we have energy credits of 250 will be paid to household in 2 installments. one in 2024 and one in 2025. I remember that with last year, I think it was 450. Okay, so we had like in 3 installments, but it's still good. We still get something. It's better than nothing. Okay, and then we have 9% VAT rate for gas and then electricity to be extended to the end of April. Let's look at education. When it comes to education, we have a once-off payment. I know I've already read about the once-off payment, so I'm not going to mention that. But you also have €1,000 once-off payment reduction in the contribution fee of college students, okay? And then you also have free school book scheme extended to all transition and then senior cycle students, and also capital allowance of 1.3 billion will support 350 building projects and 200 new school projects. Let's look at child benefits. So when it comes to the child benefit, we have child benefits and foster care allowance. Okay, I know I already read that, but that's fine. I'll still read this because this is also a different website. Okay, so 2 double payments will occur in November and also in December. This is so cool because last year it was actually just December, but this year we have November and then December. Okay, yes, and we also have qualified child payments. There will be 4% increase. Okay, 4% increase per week for under 12. So if you have a child that is under 12 years, they are going to get 4% increase for child payments. Okay, and then 8% increase per week for over 12 years. Okay, so for me, I'm not part of the 8%, but I'm still happy with my 4%. Okay, and then you also have newborn baby grant of €420 for each newborn child. So if you're now pregnant and we're not going to have a baby, or you're still planning to have a baby like myself, you're going to get like a €420 for your newborn child in addition to your child benefits. Okay, so like that is just like a once-off payment. You also have the maternity, paternity, and adoptive benefits to increase by €15 per week. Okay, you also have monthly domiciliary care allowance of 20%. So you don't know what that is, you can choose to like read more on citizen information. Okay, that would be really good because there's a different website, so it doesn't really give you the option to read more. And then you also have double payment of foster care allowance before the end of 2024. Okay, so now let's go to social welfare. So with the social welfare, we have 12% weekly increase for social welfare payments, including pensions. You also have €300 lump sum payments for fuel allowance recipients, which will be paid in November. You also have additional €200 to be paid for people living alone. I know I already read that. And then €400 payment, terrorist support grant, disability allowance, blind welfare, invalidity. I already read all of that in the once-off payments. And also 400 payment working family persons. And also carers support grants will be from 150 to 2,000. Okay. Public sector employment, like this is like a whole book. Okay, it's really huge. You also have 1,600 additional special needs assistants, and then 768 extra special education teachers. You also have 1,000 additional Gardaí and 150 extra Gardaí civilian staff. Public sector employment. You also have 350 additional Irish prison service personnel, and then 400 additional international protection office personnel, and then net increase of 400 defense force members in 2025. When it comes to VAT, you have increase in VAT registration threshold for business from 40,000 to 42,000 for service only businesses, and then 80,000 to 85,000 for goods and services providers. And then you have excess duty. You have cigarettes duty increase by 1% per pack of 20, and then pro rata increase will be applied for all other tobacco products. And then e-cigarettes introduction of 50-cent tax per mil of the liquid as well. So for that, I'm happy with that. So at least it reduces the smoking in the country. Okay, so now let's look at transport. For transport, we have extension of young adults and then student card to cover adults aged 19 to 25 to the end of 2025. You also have free public transport will be extended to include children aged 5 to 8 for the first time. Okay, so free public transport for children 5 to 8 as well. You have capital expenditure. You have 3 billion from the sale of AIB shares will be allocated as follows. You have 1 billion to Irish Water for non-domestic capital investment, 1.25 billion to the Land Development agency for the development of social and affordable housing, and also 750 million for the development of electricity grid network. With what I have here is just like some examples of those that will benefit and all of that. Like if you're a single person, looking at your tax, you are going to earn like 400 more, okay? And then the tax credits, I'm just going to display this on my screen. I'm not going to talk much about this because it's actually from a website, and I'm not going to commit myself so much to this. Back to citizen information, okay? I just wanted to read more about the health aspect because, like, yeah, I'm a nurse, so at least I should be able to emphasize a little bit more about the health. So we have the health, we have the Department of Health budget allocation is 25.76 billion euros, and then this will support new measures including 335 new hospital beds and then 160 community hospitals. We have 2 new surgical hubs, and then increase in training places for GPs and also nurses, and then 49 new consultant posts, and then a varicella, which is chickenpox vaccination program, and then implementation of new national adult palliative care policy. Okay, you also have the hormone replacement therapy, where there will be some support as well. We also have mental health. We also have an additional allocation of 16 million euros, okay, for mental health services as well, which is so good. Like, I feel so happy, which includes young mental health, such as the CAMS, suicide prevention services, traveler mental health initiative, the expansion of eligibility for counseling in primary care as well. Okay, we also have the HSC assisted human reproductive services as well. Okay, so that is so cool. We also have an aspect for disability, cervical check, first, and all of that. So the budget is actually a lengthy one, and I'll say that after watching this video, if you want like more information, or you still want to get like lots of info about the budget, I'll just advise you to just head to citizen information and then like grab all the the info around the budget. If you really want to have a better understanding about some of the things I mentioned, when you go to the citizen information, you can see them outlined in blue. You can just click on the link just to have a better understanding of this. I actually read all of this from citizen information, also from other websites as well. I actually tried as much as possible to be a bit fast because it's very lengthy, so that at least I don't have to waste your time. But I still advise you to still go through citizen information just to get lots of information as well. If this video has been of great help, please remember to appreciate your girl. Just hit on the like button. Remember to share and also drop a comment to also encourage your girl. Thank you guys so much for always coming through and always supporting me. See you all soon on my next video. Bye.